I'm going to show you testing, immune system testing on 3 separate occasions. And I'm going to give you when we did these specific things. But what I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you using medical testing, verifiable proof, immune system testing of how from changing a lifestyle to getting the first, let me show it to you since I can't say it, the first, and then I'm going to show you after the second, and I'm going to show you the changes that took place in the immune system, and I'm going to show you exactly what that means when you read this testing. And again, it can't be false because this is medical testing. All right, so let me show you the first one. Now, this gentleman, it went from type 2 diabetic to no longer type 2 diabetic. Went from being able to hardly be able to, like his goal is to walk a mile, he can run a 5K now. He completely changed his life. Now, he got this, and he knew he didn't want to, but he felt compelled to in order to keep his job. Can you imagine that? To keep his job. So I'm going to show you his first one. I'm going to show you after the very first one, and then I'm going to show you the second one, and I'm going to show you exactly what it means. Guys, please share this video. All right. So this is after him doing a really good job of changing his life. This was when he was doing absolutely amazing. Still is, except for his blood work now. So you can see when you look at this, you see all of these all of these in within these ranges. But this is what I want you guys to pay attention to is I want you to look at the granulocyte count and look at the lymphocyte count. All of these things, these are basically, just part of the immune system, which is kind of a basic panel a lot of doctors run. All of these immune cells perform a specific function. And when you look at it, you can associate it maybe the type of infection that they're elevated. You can see the type of infection that people will typically have, okay? So granulocytes, things are like lymphocytes, neutrophils. You got all your different types of lymphocytes. You guys are going to notice that when your doctor runs it, they don't differentiate between CD8, CD4, natural killer cells, things like that. Monocytes, these are your dendritic cells, your macrophages. This is what we're going to go over tomorrow. Eosinophils, so associated with parasitic infections. Basophils, associated with severe allergic reactions, things like that. So when you look at this, the biggest thing that you see is you say everything is doing really well. Okay, I want to show you this. This is after the very first you know what. So the very first you know what you can see is we started testing an expanded immune system panel, and I said, hey, if you don't mind, I want to see how your immune system is responding after the first you know what. So this is the first you know what. And here's what's interesting is you see the CD8 cells started to jump way up. So you see these CD8 cells start to jump way up. Now, let me turn the camera around. Let me tell you what a CD8 cell actually does. CD8 cell is called a suppressor T cell. It's also known as a killer T cell. What do killer T cells actually do? Well, what these are sniper-specific cells, and they are designed to kill virally infected cells that are literally wearing the virus on the surface of the cell. Think of spike protein. And it's also killing cancer cells. That's the job. They're very sniper-specific. They don't do a lot of collateral damage, but I want you to think anything that is virally infected. So when you look at this, you can see those CD8 cells after the first you know what, you can see they start to jump up. They're saying, hold the phone. What is going on here? We need to start killing off these cells that are expressing a specific, I don't know how you say it, spike protein. Okay. That was a couple of days after the first one. So you're seeing that as CD8 cells start to jump up. I said, okay, if you don't mind, I want you to get it after you get the second you know what. I will pay for it. Just please let me do it for my research. I know that regardless, you're still going to do it. At least let's get some benefit from doing it so that we can gain some clinical data, because I guarantee you, your doctor isn't saying, hey, let's do an immune system panel, an expanded one that's CD4, CD8, natural killer cells and things like that. Guys, this if you don't know what the test is, it's very similar to how they measure progression of HIV infection, okay? It's basically an AIDS test. So that was his first one. I want to show you the second one. We just got it back literally last night, okay? This got back literally last night. Now, this is after the second. Now I want you to look at this, and I want you to stay with me. Please stay with me, okay? So now what you see is you see that his granulocytes, look at how much they jumped up. Holy cow. These granulocytes are responsible for basically their neutrophils, their first responders, their emergency type cells. They're responsible for, they do have a viral component to it, but they're mostly for bacterial infection, and they also clean up tissue damage. Think of when you have tissue damage like a pimple, like a scratch, like a sprained ankle. They're responders to tissue damage. And you look at this and you're saying, what on earth is getting damaged inside of the body? Then when you look at his lymphocytes, so his lymphocytes are things like his CD4 cells, CD8 cells, natural killer cells, his B lymphocytes that are producing antibodies, the very reason why they wanted to do it in the first place, to produce an antibody production. You can see how badly now that started to tank. And then what's interesting too is that you can see that his natural killer cells have absolutely tanked as well. Natural killer cells, guys, this is part of your innate immune system, okay? This is your innate immune system, and natural killer cells are your first responders to things like viruses, virally infected cells, and yes, even cancer cells. And wow, holy cow, you can see how that is tanked. Now, what I'm not showing you is all his other numbers, but every single one of his lymphocytes are on the very lowest end of normal, and comparing it to the last one, they have absolutely tanked. So what is tanked? His adaptive immune system has absolutely tanked. Adaptive immune system, CD4, CD8, natural killer cells, his B lymphocytes, all of those things have actually just gotten pummeled within the month. Now, what has changed within the month? Gee, I wonder. He's still eating great. He's still exercising. He's still avoiding his food allergies. He's taken his supplements. So what changed in his environment? It was a toxin. I'll leave it up to you to understand what I mean by a toxin. So look at how that changed. So if you said, hey, look at this lab, and what does it tell you? I would look at this lab, and in 2 seconds, I would say, this person has autoimmunity. Let me say it again. This person has autoimmunity, and it's how you see how that immune system is responding. People with autoimmunity, so many times I've seen clinically high granulocytes and a tanked adaptive immune system. So I want you to think of this. The body's trying to handle some kind of tissue damage, but also the very thing that's designed to handle things like cancer cells and things that sell like virally infected cells has absolutely tanked. Now you look at this. How on earth can they ever say that it is working? Now watch this. If they have this low and it stays and it persists, I want you to stay with me, and that adaptive immune system response persists, in which it's going to have a bad response to any other kind of viral infection, let me ask you a question. This is a serious question. To the health experts out there, to the pathologists that are out there, to the public health experts out there, if you looked at that blood work, would you say that this person is very susceptible to having another viral infection? And maybe you just might call it a breakthrough infection. You guys see that? A breakthrough infection. Guys, please share this video. This might get taken down. A breakthrough infection, like the kind that we're seeing right now, or maybe what we're seeing in Israel. A breakthrough infection. So let me ask you a question. I'm just not making a statement. I'm just saying, I'm asking a question. Could it be that after this, maybe this is happening in a lot of people and leaving them wide open to have breakthrough infections after that? That's interesting, isn't it? So this is testing. This is testing. And the reason why is because I want to know. I want to know what it is doing to people. If you're a doctor and you are watching this, every single one of you doctors become a doctor and start testing those patients who have gotten the second one, and start testing their immune systems and start figuring out why. However, if I say, hey, I think I found something, I'll share it with you as well. And I always appreciate when I share something with you guys, please share it with other people. Please help them to start to open their eyes, because I guarantee you there are going to be people who are suffering. And They need to know that they are suffering. It's not in their head. It's not in their head. Just because the doctor can't find it doesn't mean it's not there, because they need to look in the right direction. I will tell you this, there's not one doctor who will run that test. Not one doctor who will run that test. They won't run it. One of the reasons why they don't run it is because there's no medication for it. Sad, isn't it?